Have to give it just a moment here, ladies and gentlemen, so we have a signal. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on the face of this plane under the firmament on a world stage that is an inversion of reality. This is your host, the Fullerton Informer, Joe Imbriano, coming to you live from the sunny streets of Southern California. And today is Monday, November 4th, 2024. Today is the day before the selection process, right? Today's the day, folks, that you either fall into the Trump trap or you get sucked into the Kamala Harris program, right? Because either way, the die is cast. You need to understand that no matter who gets selected tomorrow or who gets foisted on us tomorrow, and by the way, we're not going to know for a while, that's the plan. The plan will continue to go as planned because, let me tell you why, folks. You see, there is a sense about everyone that everyone has the ability to ascertain, and that is a spiritual enlightenment or awakening through Jesus Christ being born again, through the Spirit of God to see the truth. Because Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. And without His Spirit, you are literally at the mercy of the devil and his children. And consequently, most people are. Have you ever noticed how morally bankrupt and degenerate most people are? How selfish and how cowardly most people are? And how they are literally a walking Encyclopedia Britannica, 3-volume set of the definition of cognitive dissonance or willful ignorance. Have you noticed how corrupt the people are that run these businesses, run these churches, run these school districts, these police departments, water districts, the House of Representatives, the Senate, the State Assembly, the State Senate, County Board of Supervisors, City Councils, the Boy Scout troops? Have you noticed how corrupt everything is down to the level that your feet are planted on? And how much more corrupt it is even below the level that you could see. You know why? Because it is a choice people make to exchange the truth for a lie, ladies and gentlemen. Tomorrow, the selection process begins of who the next stage actor or crisis actor or circus clown will be selected based on whatever algorithm and artificial intelligence gathering operation can determine will be the most palatable circus clown psychological warfare operation operative to foist the next pandemic on us, to foist the collapse of the economy on us, to foist the next miraculous solution to a pandemic in the form of a vaccine or a remarkable revolutionary drug they're going to give us to solve all the problems from the pandemics they got planned. Or just simply the one who will give us the most sleeping gas to accept everything they have planned for us which is to turn this country upside down on its head. What we're about to face is another level of the United States being inverted. You see, there's this fairy tale that George Washington couldn't tell a lie, that, he didn't chop down the cherry tree, and that the United States wasn't founded and laid out Masonically by the deniers of Jesus Christ. And you're given these fairy tales that these people that set this place up are some sort of heroes, when in fact, they set this place up a long time ago for it to do exactly what it's doing. Because Washington, D.C. is all laid out Masonically. The baseball fields are all laid out Masonically. And most of your police departments, actually, they're all controlled Masonically, with Mossad high-level control over them. And you need to understand that everything you've been told is a lie, and tomorrow will be no exception. Because the United States is going to get the leadership it truly deserves, ladies and gentlemen. And, growing up, being around the people that I grew up around, and observing the behavior as a child, and then as an adult, and then now as a senior citizen, so to speak, I see the behavior of the average person. And to be honest with you, they're going to get everything they deserve, all right? Because the average person is an immoral, amoral, selfish, morally bankrupt, myopic, degenerate coward. They really are. And I'll tell you how you know this. Well, if you could do an internet search history on them, then that would probably be the clearest indicator. But when you look at their behavior, when it comes to getting involved in things to stop this evil, or helping people in need, or challenging lies and evil agendas, you will see that they fold up like a cheap tent and don't want any part of it. They just want to revert to their big screen and their Bimbo Bakery box of donuts and their 12-pack, and they want to have their Tesla waxing service on the weekend as they worship their electric car and their pension, right? They don't care. And so they go along with everything evil, remain silent on patently obvious as a fraud. I guess I've been placed in a neighborhood that just really epitomizes it all. I remember several years ago when we were going through this COVID operation, and I got this neighbor who had a drive-through birthday party with masks on, right? It was a drive-up birthday party when everybody, I guess one of his children had a birthday, and so he had people, they had a sign they were holding in the street, and people were showing up, driving by in their cars with masks on, and these people had masks on. And, this is the guy that hands out Wi-Fi hotspots with his education doctorate to the poor high school students, right? Irradiates all the children, and pushed for all this weaponized technology in the classrooms as they fence the schools in like prisons. So when they turn it on, they can blame another virus, right? But this is what I'm talking about, folks. This is the level with which, we've descended, and the moral compass is spinning like a blender blade with the wrong current hooked up to the thing, right? It's insane. Tomorrow, I don't want any of you to get any inklings of supporting the Trump trap, or, taking a position for or against this other thing that you truly don't even understand. You will never understand Kamala Harris until we fully delve into what the agenda is. And that person isn't even what you think it is. It's unbelievable what's going on, folks. But the level of deception is so great. But to be honest with you, it's, well, I guess you could say that people deserve what's coming. That's all I could say. I guess you could say that people are going to get everything they deserve in the months and years ahead, because we are now at the point when, I remember as a child, people would laugh when, I'd say something and they didn't believe it. They said, "Oh, Joe, that's crazy. When pigs fly, I'll believe it," right? Well, I don't know if you've noticed the headlines, but I guess the pigs are getting the bird flu now. Did you hear what I just said? The pigs are getting the bird flu. Pigs fly. I guess we're at the point when pigs fly, folks. Whatever your position is on voting or this phony left-right paradigm or the Trump trap or Kamala Harris, it doesn't matter which side you're on, because if you actually believe that either one of these people that are working to protect the interests of the Federal Reserve and these massive hedge fund entities that are buying up all the houses and businesses and all the land and through this disaster capitalism as the weather control machines wipe the civilizations off the map. By the way, I have to tell you, okay, so I live in Fullerton, California, right? And Fullerton, California is called the education community. And, where I live, everybody on my street works for the government, right? And it's evident by the way that their recyclable trash can sounds on trash day. It sounds like the back of a bar getting empty because they're all a bunch of drunks, right? But that's how they deal with their guilt, if they have any. It's their catharsis, the bottle, right? And I'm not going to sing a Maverick song about "Tonight the Bottle Let Me Down," but that's the story of their life, unfortunately. But the problem is that the government school system is nothing more than a communist indoctrination program to make everybody stupid and fill their head full of trash so they can't figure out what's going on, so that they'll end up eventually having a drive-through birthday party with masks on and believing everything that the TV tells them and believing every narrative that they've been instructed to teach children, and then they actually end up believing and being forced into accepting themselves. But the next president that gets selected tomorrow, that we'll find out about months later, is going to guide us through several things. And this is the important part of this broadcast, okay? What's going to happen during this next administration is going to be a series of outbreaks. Except this time, the real agenda is not going to be necessarily just the vaccine. This time, the real agenda is going to be getting everybody to take the medication. Because you see, this time, folks, we are going into a phase where the reflexive behavior will to take the meds that they tell us will cure the illness. We're going to go into a period by which they are going to turn on the towers and make the birds fall from the air and blame a bird flu outbreak on these birds falling from the sky. Except it won't be from some virus, it'll be from an electromagnetic attack on the birds. And they've already got the infrastructure. They've got all the phased array systems in place on the ground. They've got them everywhere on the aircraft carriers, on the cruise ships, on the military ships. They've got all these floating SpaceX weather modification machines on the cruise ships, on the SpaceX ships, on all these launching, these maritime launch pads that, generate, 500 million watts with the generating systems they have on their burning bunker fuel and everything else. They'll make the birds fall out of there. They'll tell you it's a virus, and we got to, and now that they've told us that bird flu is in the pigs, they'll slaughter the pork. They've told us bird flu's in the chickens. They'll kill all the chickens. They've told us that the bird flu's in the cattle, so they'll kill all the cows. But if you'll notice something that bird flu hasn't infected yet, and that's the crickets, because that's what you're going to eat. You're going to eat bugs because bird flu doesn't affect bugs. So you can eat all the bugs you want. And now there's this compound in the exoskeleton of the bugs that just happens to be razor sharp and glass-like in nature. It's the component that makes up the exoskeleton of crickets and grasshoppers. It's chitin, chitin, however you want to pronounce it. And it just so happens that it spins like a razor blade in the 5G frequencies when they're turned up high enough. And so does the graphene that they're putting in all your Starbucks and all your chocolate, right? And so once they turn up these towers, these nano blenders will start spinning away and causing hemorrhaging that they'll blame on a hemorrhagic fever disease as they kill all the chickens and birds and pigs and cows. And if they're not satisfied by doing that with all you idiots that work for the government school system that have told everybody about all these fake diseases when they're actually caused by electromagnetic weaponry interacting with physical substrates whose surface areas have been perfected to react and perform in the way of the aforementioned description, it's all your fault because you taught everybody these lies. And for all you pickpocket pimps in the pulpit who've gone along with these frauds, right? You know who you are. Just about 99.999% of these churches are run by criminals. We're at the point now where, they're just up there sleeved up in tattoos laughing at you, taking your money, pushing all these agendas, keeping the truth away from you, holding the truth in unrighteousness, as they use a weaponized interpretation of the scriptures to further the geopolitical agenda of the deniers of Jesus Christ with their literal dastardly eschatological weaponized criminal interpretation of the predictions of Jesus Christ as they related to the destruction of Jerusalem in AD 70. That's right. The book of Revelation was written before the destruction of Jerusalem, and it was written in an allegorical code for the first century converts so they would know when the signs to get out of there were, so that they wouldn't be murdered by the Roman siege that killed everybody there and left not one stone left upon another, just as Jesus said. But instead, they've turned it into a science fiction super decoder ring magic book that they use as a geopolitical playbook, because the same guy that hitched himself up with the Schofield guy that walked out on his wife and children and wrote the Schofield Reference Bible's inspired notes when Oxford University Press set up shop over here and started cranking out the crap with it, is the same guy, the Lotus Club attorney that helped write the Federal Reserve Act to tank the United States and put us into slavery, right? But, your pastor won't talk about this because your pastor's a criminal. That's right. 99.999% of all these pastors are crooks. They're liars. They're criminals. They'll never tell you the truth. And as a matter of fact, they'll do what's worse. They'll support the lies and make you believe the lies. And so, here we go. This next 4 years, folks, whether it's a seamless transition of alleged power, the president of the United States controls nothing, okay? They're a figurehead. And you got to remember, Donald Trump gave us the vaccine. Donald Trump gave us the virus. Donald Trump gave us the lockdowns. Donald Trump gave us Operation Warp Speed. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris gave us the destruction of the economy, the expansion of the debt, the war going on right now with Ukraine, and we're backing up all this pre-planned stuff that went down over there. And the United States has, the borders are wide open. the medical system just continues to just expand its power. The legislation being enacted is just, giving the military the authority to literally use lethal force on Americans in protests, stopping 1 millimeter short of invoking the Insurrection Act. That's where we're at right now, folks. They are literally a stone of invoking the Insurrection Act. And don't fall for this phony baloney, oh, let's go take our country back. Whether the country is handed to the Trump trap or Kamala Harris makes no difference. The agendas have already been set. The agenda is as follows. 2030 is when the full Hunger Games will be in full operation. And if you understand how things work, you will understand that Hollywood is nothing more than a religious operation that is designed to tell us what they're going to do to us, so they have our permission in advance so they can be absolved from all their wrongdoing by their god Satan or Lucifer, whichever one you want to call them. All right. The Hunger Games is the model, 2030 is the year, and we are now entering into a window in which the 5-year period will begin with the systematic destruction of the United States. And, I don't care where you think you want to leave the country, it's no better where you're going. They've got all those places controlled too. The only thing that really sets the United States apart from these other countries, well, there are a few things, but the biggest thing is that the majority of Americans are armed. And as long as we don't use our weapons on each other, we do have a chance of maintaining a semblance of freedom and independence. You go anywhere else in the world and they can roll the troops and you're done for. Over here, at least we have a way to say no. So you got to realize that the United States still has that going for it. And that's why, the Trump trap is going to try to make people get violent and, lose our gun rights by being stupid. Donald Trump is the reason we got the virus and the vaccine and the lockdowns, folks. Donald Trump gave us the national ID card. Donald Trump gave us the red flag laws. Donald Trump says, let's take the guns and sort it out later. Look, folks, and you need to understand that, his rhetoric as of late is designed to incite violence. And what his plans are and have been all along is to be the guy that everybody laughs at as he's doing horrible things. Now, hang on for just a second. I think the signal's kind of breaking up here. Let me see if this is any better. Is my signal okay? All right. So Kamala Harris is going to take the United States into a full-blown Marxist nosedive of hard communism. That is the goal of Kamala Harris's presidency, okay? Because one of the things that has to take place is the country has to be transformed into a Marxist social credit score quasi-Chinese model dictatorship run by the technocrats, folks, and that's what's coming, okay? Let me repeat that. The goal of the Kamala Harris presidency is to transform the United States into a quasi-Chinese model of social credit score, hard communism, and a medical dictatorship and a government tyrannical top-down command and control regime where all of our rights are eviscerated under the guise of protecting public health and protecting public safety. Because during the Donald Trump administration, something very scary took place, and that was the escalation and elevation and reclassification of gun violence into a public health crisis, whereby it changes the way in which it can be dealt with, okay? You need to understand, ladies and gentlemen, that it doesn't matter who gets selected tomorrow, and don't fall into the Trump trap or the Kamala Harris trap, okay? Because they're both traps. They want us fighting with each other. They want us divided. They want to invoke all these police powers so they can put curfews on us. And then after that, we're going to have a food crisis with the outbreaks, because now pigs fly, folks. Now we have pigs flying. That's right. The bird flu is now in pigs. When I was a young man, people would joke and say, oh, yeah, right, when pigs fly, I'll believe it, right? When pigs fly, folks. Remember that expression? When pigs fly? Well, the bird flu is now in pigs, okay? But the bird flu is not in grasshoppers, and the bird flu is not in crickets, because you're going to be eating crickets, and you're going to be eating lab-grown meat. And I'll tell you right now, the quicker they can get you on that stuff, the quicker you're going to start pooping blood in the toilet, and you're all going to get cancer from it, because that's the plan. All right? They have plans to literally kill everybody by taking their food away, changing the food supply, rolling out these outbreaks, cranking up these towers, and forcing medical procedures on you and conning you into taking a pill. Because this time, with these next virus operations are going to run, the savior is going to be somebody dressed up, wrapped in the flag, telling you to take a pill, because now prescriptions are going to be the solution. Last time it was the vaccine as the hero. Trump gave us the vaccine. Kamala Harris will give us the pill, okay? She is going to be the pill president. And when pigs fly, which they are, they're telling us now that pigs can now catch the bird flu. Pigs can fly, folks. We've crossed the Rubicon, okay? They've laid down the sword of Damocles. Let me tell you something right now, folks. It doesn't matter who gets selected tomorrow. What matters is how you run your operation, okay? Your operation is your home and your family. And you know what I have stated for many, many, many years. You got to say no with every reasonable and powerful means you have access to. Now, once again, they don't want you eating chicken. They don't want you eating eggs. I want you to think about this, folks. And by the way, for all you vegans out there, as your teeth rot out and you have bad breath and you have bad BO and your hair's all brittle and you look like you're 70 when you're 50, to all you people that think you're not supposed to eat animal products, well, you're going to see how well that works out for you once they run the bird flu and they kill all the chickens. So you won't have any eggs. You won't have any chicken. When they kill all the cows, because the cows catch bird flu, you won't have any beef. You won't have any milk. You won't have any cheese. And for all you vegans that like to cheat, you won't have any ice cream, right? And then when they tell you that the bird flu is in the pigs, then you won't have any bacon. You won't have any manteca. You won't be able to make your tamales. You won't have any pork chops. So then what? Well, you can eat beans, but you won't have any butter, and you're going to have to use palm oil for your oil. And, palm oil feeds cancer, and Wi-Fi microwave radiation causes cancer. So, you got to wear all your devices, let them turn up the towers. And as they put the graphene in the dark colas, whether it's Pepsi or Coca-Cola or Starbucks, by the way, Bill Gates' father bankrolled Starbucks. Do your research on that. That's why there's a Starbucks in every corner. God knows what's going to be in that stuff. But their logo is the siren, where, that's the mythological, supposedly, creature that used to lure the ships into the rocks and kill all the men, right? Here we go, right? Here we go, right? It doesn't matter who gets selected tomorrow, but I will tell you this, that the northeast wind is blowing in Southern California on the eve of destruction. This is the first Santa Ana condition we've had this fall. And as a symbolic, I would say, yes, it's a gorgeous day here in Southern California. We are on the eve of destruction, folks. But you know what? Every day is the eve of destruction. And you want to know why? Because the average person is a selfish, corrupt moron. And they don't care. And all they care about is what do they got in the bank, how much money they have, and, I got a nicer car than you, or my kids go to a better college than you, or I got a bigger house than you, or I got a bigger bank account than you. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Oh, you don't have any wisdom. You're going to eat crickets. You're going to eat bugs. and they're going to turn on the towers, and you're going to hemorrhage, and they're going to say it's Marburg. They're going to say it's Ebola. Oh, you're going to have all this graphene in you from all your habits from hitting those drive-thrus, right? Or eating that dark chocolate, right, that you trust, right? Full of graphene, right? So when they turn on the towers, it spins the graphene, right? And guess what happens? You'll start having hemorrhaging, right? You'll have Marburg, right? You'll have Ebola, right? But don't worry, they'll have medication for that. And once you get enough people to take this pill that will probably sterilize them or do something even worse, they'll just shut the towers off and say, oh, looks like we cured the outbreak. Or, people are going to get, these burns on their skin from the 5G millimeter wave burns that are going to be aimed at them from all the wearables. They put a bullseye all over their body, right? The AirPods and, the smart watches, so they can track you and triangulate you and just lock on you and then hit you with these beam-forming millimeter wave systems that are disguised as cell towers. They can just burn your skin and say, ooh, look at this monkeypox. Yeah, right. They laugh at you like that, folks. They think I'm crazy. They're crazy. They're the inventors of evil things, folks. I'm just a guy that just tells you what they're doing. And I'm laughing at you like they laugh at you because they hate you. And that's why they give you all kinds of sugared cereal to rot your children's teeth out. And they give you all kinds of soda to dissolve your bones and make you fat and mess you up with all these caffeinated energy drinks and video games to make you want to kill each other and kill everybody else. And give you all these kinky sex movies so you can't find love and your children are all effed up. They can't figure anything out. They don't know what they are. They don't know if they're a man or a woman or a boy or a girl anymore. So they start taking hormones and cutting parts of their body off. And they give us all these killing movies and these crazy movies about, oh, now it's a stupid squirrel, right? You guys are worried about some stupid frickin' squirrel, right? You see how they've turned you into, and they've done this without even putting lithium in the water. You're that soft mentally, right? The average person, I hate to tell you this, and this isn't for my audience, this is for the people who don't want to get it. You're a bunch of cowards. You're a bunch of morons. And that's why we're in the mess we're in. And that's why now you can't even have a conversation with the average person because they don't want to hear it. You know what they want to hear? Who won the ball game, right? What the stats are for the, the up-and-coming Betty Crocker cook-off competition for cupcakes, right? Or they want to, they want to see what the late. What's crazy right now? I can't believe this, but when I go to these thrift stores, people are crazy about purses right now. These women, they're so consumed with purses, right? And so, I'm going through these thrift stores that I go to, and I'm looking for incandescent light bulbs and extension cords and old American tools, things of use and of value. And the women are just obsessed with purses, right? Like the only person who gives a crap about your purse is the guy with the mask on that has a gun in his pants that's going to rob you. Let me get this straight, okay? And let me clear this up for you ladies. You need to wake up. The only people who care about what kind of purse you have is the guy that wants to rob you in the parking lot of the grocery store when you don't pull out your keys until you're hunched over by your car in the dark. All right? And you don't look under your car before you walk up to it because there could be a guy under there ready to grab your feet and yank you to the ground and another guy in the van next to your car to throw you in the van and gag you and inject you with something to take you off and organ harvest you. You think I'm kidding? That's what this thing's going to turn into, folks. Wait till they turn the protesters loose. Wait till the bedlam starts to become the norm from all the civil unrest that they're going to engineer. And believe me, folks, they've been fomenting all this racial tension and political division and racial division and socioeconomic class division for how long now? So we're just waiting for the right flashpoint. And like during the Rodney King riots in the early 90s in Los Angeles, the government had operatives lighting mattresses on fire at the freeway exits, and they brought all the the drugs into the inner city, and they'd roll the rail cars in there with the the AK-47s, just leave the door open as they rolled out the gangster rap, right? Problem, reaction, solution. Well, here we go. It's coming again, folks. The message for me to you is not to fall into the Trump trap or the Kamala Harris trap, because both of those circus clown stage actors are working for the deniers of Jesus Christ to make sure that the stranglehold of the Federal Reserve's ability to print money out of thin air and keep us in debt slavery and to keep them in control of a never-ending money printing press that can buy anything they want, including military machines and might, and even men's souls, unfortunately, continues. And who you think you're voting for tomorrow or who you think is going to win doesn't matter, because what does matter is how open your eyes remain. And I think when you think of Stanley Kubrick's attempt at trying to wake people up before they edited the living crap out of his movie Eyes Wide Shut and all of this Clockwork Orange stuff, he was trying to tell us something, because he did have a conscience after he filmed the fake moon landings in the studio, and he was trying to warn us in a very cryptic way, and I'll go into that in another video. But folks, please, do not go to these protests. Do not go fly your flag and bring your gun to a city hall or a state capitol building. Do not fall for this staged civil war that they want us to start, because we're smarter than that. You don't want to end up in federal prison, where they drop the soap on a rope in front of you and bend you over for 25 years to life for getting a guided tour of the state capitol again. We don't want that happening to anybody. Do you understand me? That's right. Don't fall for it. I warned people years back about this phony January 6th thing, and Trump left everybody high and dry, and they're all rotting in federal prison. For what, right? They're going to run it again. Do not go to any protest. Do not protest anything. Protests don't work, folks. They don't listen to us. They don't care about us. If you go to one of these things, you're going to get hurt. You're probably going to get arrested, and it's a waste of your time. What you ought to be doing is stocking up on things that you need. So when they run the next fake, bird flu, pig flu, swine flu, cow flu, bird tard flu, whatever, and they, destroy the food supply, you won't be in a line forcibly taking a vaccine or taking the pills they want you to take, all right? You need to go out. I'll tell you what, instead of going to the protest, go shopping and buy as much of what you need as you can physically afford. That's long-term storable. And be ready for a protracted crisis that is engineered like the Empire State Building was before its time. Ladies and gentlemen, please, you need to read between the lines and understand the days and times that we live in. It is a time of massive deception. It is a time of morally bankrupt cowards everywhere, pushing shopping carts, waxing their cars, and self-gloating over the failed accomplishments of themselves as human beings, as they're headed for hell by the damnation they've brought upon themselves, by the denying the immutable, unmistakable, unreprovable truth of Jesus Christ, and they ignore his power and his spirit and his wisdom and his holiness and his cleanness and his purity, and they've exchanged the truth for a lie. And for this reason, God has given them over to a reprobate mind and delivering to them the delusion. Let them rot in it, folks. There has been such a long period of time in this country where people have had access to the New Testament and the teachings of Jesus Christ and the morality that came along with being a born-again Christian. But they've turned their backs on it as they allow their children to watch these filthy vampire videos, play these filthy video games, as they sit back themselves in front of a black, gigantic scrying mirror electronic Ouija board called a smart television. As they sit there and suck on their beer and laugh and gloat and how they think that this is a Danny Elfman song, that nothing bad ever happens to me. Baloney, you're about to find out what's about to happen to you. And it ain't going to be fun, and it ain't going to be my fault. It ain't going to be our fault, because we tried, and there's only so much we can do to warn people. All right. So, just like on 9/11, they were running a drill of, hijacked airliners flying into the New York skyline. NORAD was on stand down. Well, tomorrow they're running a cyber attack drill, so it wouldn't be surprising if they have a cyber attack tomorrow and the voting systems go down because they want people pissed off with their guns in the street so they can take the guns away. Don't fall for it. Ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow, if you're going to vote, vote. If you have time, the next couple of days, go out and buy everything you can that you're going to need. Canned meat, canned fruit, canned vegetables, bottled water, ammunition, everything you need to maintain your firearms, everything you need to maintain your backup electricity, everything you need to maintain your sanitation. Get yourself a bunch of plastic buckets and plastic bags in case you've got to start pooping in a bucket in your apartment. And you don't want to talk about what's going on in North Carolina, where what no one wants to talk about is the crisis of how much poop there is in people's toilets. Folks, you need to live in a way that you're not at their mercy. Instead of wasting your money on all this crap and all this junk that you think you need, all these worthless electronics and all these stupid purses and all this crap. Yeah, ladies, why don't you, instead of going to the mall and buying one of these stupid purses, go out and buy some can openers that you can use with your hand in case the power goes out, and maybe learn how to use a propane stove if you have to cook your beans. Because, the powder puff lifestyle's over. In the Hunger Games, they don't make it, okay? The only thing that's going to make it is grit and determination and physical will and ability to live. And they've emasculated everyone, and they've feminized most of the men. And the ones that they haven't, they've just either brainwashed them or morally bankrupted them or just turned them into such corrupt cowards that they do not know how to operate when the compass starts spinning. And believe me, folks, they're going to start spinning the compass. All right? Stay strong in the power of the Lord. And I might as well just do this right now because, look. Unto the upright there ariseth light in the darkness. He is gracious and full of compassion and righteous. A good man showeth favor and lendeth. He will guide his affairs with discretion. Surely he shall not be moved forever. The righteous shall be in everlasting remembrance. That's us, folks. We can't be moved by circumstances. We've got to be prepared to help others when the time comes. And history will be favorable to people like us. No matter how short-lived our memory is, it is our legacy that we leave to the next generation and the other generations that follow that matter. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this broadcast is concluded in the name of Jesus Christ, folks. I want to thank you all for tuning in. I want to thank you for joining me this morning. This has been another episode, another broadcast, another informative discussion of the Fullerton Informer. My name is Joe Imbriano. My contact information is PO Box 4121, Fullerton, California, 92834. On the web at thefullertoninformer.com, WiFiDangers.com, CellTowerDangers.com, GrapheneDangers.com, MetaverseDangers.com. Ladies and gentlemen, and the new up-and-coming website, KabbalahHarris.com. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, take care. Thanks for tuning in. Get the likes up on this video. Share it, download it, spread it, and let's get ready to rock and roll, folks. Take care.